Hey guys, this is Nathan, better known online as BlackRain79. I'm back here with part 2 of my Abusing the Button little mini video series here for my blog. In the first one, we looked at a bunch of different spots where we opened up a lot of not so premium hands from the button and cutoff, and that's largely going to be the focus of this video as well. So all these spots were taken from a small session I played the other day when I was working with a student. We only played 136 hands. Played a 22-19, which are kind of 6 max stats, kind of laggy for full ring, but I was only playing 4 tables, and I do think that's optimal, and it's just doable for me when I'm only playing that amount of tables. But really the purpose of these videos is just to get you guys to realize just the way to open up your game. A lot of guys play a lot of tables at once, and try to get play a lot of hands, get the rake back and stuff at the lower limits, and that's fine and everything. But you also don't want to be playing too tight. I see a lot of guys that are playing 10% of hands. Some of them are even like a single digit on your VPIP, and that's just not good. You're giving up a lot of value by folding too many hands pre-flop. So. One of the things you can do, or one of the best things you can do to start playing a couple more hands is just to open up your range in late position, and that's basically what I did in this short session. I didn't even mean to do it, but as you can see, I'm just playing a crazy amount of hands from the cutoff and the button here, 53% and 65%. And it's just become second nature to me to just kind of raise limpers with, top 50% of hands almost. I mean, especially when I'm only playing 4 tables. So I'm just going to go through a lot of spots like that in this video here, and just kind of talk through my thought process. So actually, I'll just quickly go over this. So we're playing NL5 here, 2 cent, 5 cent. I've bought in for 250 big blinds, 1250, so I'm up a little bit here. You can see that it's pretty much mostly just stacks that are 100 big blinds or less around the table here. You should always look around, always want to know who you're at the table for, the table fish, the mark, whoever. That's clearly Seth Zeppo here. Just going on the HUD stats here. Oops. HUD stats here. The 56 is the VPIP. The 6 is the pre-flop raise. Infinite there is the aggression factor. Middle row are flop and turn c-bet stats, and then you got on the bottom you got the 3-bet, fold to 3-bet, and number of hands. So you can look around the table and you see pretty normal looking stats from everybody else, although this player to my left would be a semi-loose passive player. But basically the reason I'm at the table is this player right here, and we do have position on him as well, which is great. So got the king 3 suited in the cutoff, and he limps as bad players like to do. And so this is just a pretty standard raise for me here. I'm going to make it 4 times the big blind. Normally I would come in here for 3x in late position or 15 cents, but I'm going to add one more just because there's a limper here. Do make it 20 cents, and he does call. Flop, get a really good flop for my hands. Not that we have anything, but it's a good flop for my perceived range. You gotta always remember when you raise pre-flop that people are gonna immediately put you on big cards, especially like big aces, ace king, ace queen, and stuff like that. And so anytime you get like a flop like this where you got one Broadway, especially when it's an ace or a king, and then you get 2 kind of raggedy cards, I mean there's no draws here at all or anything basically, other than maybe a couple gut shots to the wheel. So this is just a really easy flop for us to make a c-bet and take it down a lot. And the thing about these spots is you don't need to bet a whole lot. This player here, I mean, if you put him on a range of hands, he's obviously got a very, very wide range of hands, but this is just a very much a hit or miss flop. I mean, if he's got, some sort of suited connector, a 5-6, or a Jack-10 or something for absolutely nothing, he's going to fold to 50 cents here just as often as he's going to fold to like 25 cents even. So there's just really no need to put in a big amount here. And also these kind of players are just not paying attention at all to your bet sizes, as most players aren't at this limit. And that's why in my book, for instance, I just advocate a very unbalanced range. I really don't. I think at higher levels you absolutely should be balancing your range by betting the same amount in all situations, but in these situations, when I don't have much, I'll bet a small amount. When I have a lot, I'll bet a big amount. It's It just makes sense against players who aren't paying attention, aren't paying much attention, anyways. So he does check to me, and I just bet half pot here, and I expect him to either fold or stick around, and he does, I guess, have nothing here, and he just folds. So that's a great, great result for us, obviously. So I have an even worse hand here, but I do have the button once again. That's it's just important in these spots to just almost ignore the strength of your hand. If it's a top 50% hand, which you could put Jack 8 in the top 50% of hands, that's good enough. The main thing here is that we have the button, and that's what's important. So the table fish limps from under the gun. Again, it's always important to look at stack sizes before you do anything in a pot. We should note here that this player started the hand with about 40 big blinds. So it's going to change things a little bit on the flop here, and I'll talk about that in a second. So again, just making it 4 times the blind here, 3 times plus 1 for the limper. And he does call. Okay, so as we said, he started the hand a little bit short. So basically, this just sets up a situation where there's not really going to be 3 streets here. Where it's pretty much going to be a bet and get it in on the turn, just because of the stack sizes, his stack size. So when I flop a top pair like this, even though it's not like the greatest, we don't even have top pair, top kicker, it is basically the nuts against this player. This is also a very fishy type player who's going to stick around here with a ton of different hands. Any 6x hand, a 4x hand, all sorts of gut shots with maybe an ace 7. He could definitely be there with worse 8s. He could have 8-5, he could have 8-7, 9-8, all sorts of hands like that. So this is just a straight value bet. And as we said in the last, we're talking about the last example here, the unbalanced bet sizes that I prefer at these limits. I'm not going to bet 25 cents here. I'm going to bet closer to the pot here for value and also just to set up a turn shove here. So what do I make it? I make it 40 cents. And I guess he just had nothing in this spot, and that's perfectly fine. We can just take that down. So. This spot, I wanted to include this one, even though it's not in the button. No, I'm not on the button or in the cutoff. I am going to have position in this hand, as you will see. It is folded to the small blind. Small blind is a SLP, semi-loose passive type player. Those are players who are playing a few too many hands, but they're not playing a crazy amount of hands like a fish. You know, like that guy we saw playing 56% of hands, for instance. And they don't raise a whole lot pre-flop, and they've got kind of passive stats as well. The aggression factor is 0 on this person so far, so that's as low as it can be. So, and you know, as I advocate a lot, when somebody limps in from the small blind here and you're sitting there in the big blind, I think that you should you should raise about 50% of your hands, like an incredibly wide range in this spot. And there's a couple reasons for that. I mean, number one, you just have position, but more importantly, when they do this play limping in here, it is just so weak. And I've just noticed over the years that when you raise here, you just get an incredible amount of folds. It really is unbelievable. And even when they call, I mean, we're still going to have the benefits of position and initiative after the flop, and those are just so valuable to have. It's so profitable to have those two conditions. So we get another flop, which is pretty good. It's not good for our hand, but it's good for our perceived range, and it's just because we have big, our perceived range is big aces and sort of big pairs and stuff like that. Really good value hands. Even though we don't actually have much here, it doesn't matter. And a board like this is just really hard to hit. It's a really raggedy board with a 9-4 deuce. There's only like the 5-3 draw and maybe some gut shots to the wheel or something. It's just a really hit or miss board, and we can just bet a smaller amount here, assuming we're checked to, and take it down most of the time. And that's exactly what we do. Okay, so on to the next hand here. I've got a very unimpressive hand once again, but I have the button, and that's good enough. So top 50% of hands maybe or so when I'm playing 4 tables, definitely. If I'm playing I should mention, if I'm playing like 24 tables or something, I actually probably would still raise here playing 24 tables, but some of the crappier hands, I don't know, King 5 offsuit or something, I'm probably not going to be playing that. I probably play steal at maybe 35 or 40% of hands, but when I've got more time on my hands, when I'm only playing 4 tables, I will increase my range. So 3x on the button there. We do get called from a player who, again, has pretty SLP type looking stats there, so we'll just and we also again need to note the stack size, another 40 big blind stack, so we will just note that going in. We do get checked too. And again, this is just another pretty good flop for our hand. It's another one of these flops that you just really want to be betting. Anytime you get kind of a paired flop, it's just really hard. Really hard for them to have anything, to hit anything. I mean, it's kind of like you have a 10 here, or you don't have much, and it's just, it always goes back to the old thing of our perceived range, and that we've got big aces and big pairs. So the onus is on him to improve, not us. We can easily have, pocket nines, pocket jacks, which is pretty good here and is way ahead of whatever he's got. We don't have that in this hand, but it doesn't matter. It's just all about what he thinks we can have. So basically, it's just a bet about 60% of the pot, and we do take it down again. So, and on to the last hand here. Finally, have something reasonable, somewhat reasonable hand. So pretty standard open from the cutoff there, and I get called by a taggy type player. Actually, it's kind of funny that he doesn't 3-bet here. I would expect to get 3-bet a fair bit from this player. Couple things to note. Again, he is a tag, fairly aggressive player, so we're going to have to, maybe change our thought process a little bit on the flop, depending when it comes. And also, again, it's a 40 big blind stack, so we just need to be aware of that heading to the flop. But when you flop like that, it's going to make our decisions pretty simple. And he does check to us here, and as I always advocate at these limits, I just don't slow play anything. I mean, it's work for me. That's all I can say. It's I probably just bet pot here, and he does fold. I guess he had nothing at this point, but in this particular hand, but. I just find that players at these limits will find any reason to call. And another thing you always got to consider is, the whole point of this video is opening up your range. And the thing about opening up your range is you're going to get a lot more action. The thing is that when you sit there and you play 10-8 at the tables, I know for me personally, I don't give 10-8s any action. But when I see somebody in there playing like a maniac like I am, playing 22% of his hands or something like that, I'm going to be a little bit suspicious, and I might get it in there with a little, give him some loose action from time to time. So you always got to remember it comes down to your image as well at the table, and that's just another benefit of just playing more hands. Is that you're just going to get more action when you get a big hand. Unfortunately, we didn't this time, but that's just the way it goes in poker from time to time. So anyways, I really enjoyed making these two videos. I hope they were useful for you guys. I like the idea of just a sort of mini video that's, 10, 15 minutes at the most. And just made these in 2 parts, so it was pretty good. So I'd love to know what you guys think of these, and if you have questions or comments about the hands, by all means head over to blackrain79.com. I'll post a link to that in the description for this video, and there's going to be 2 blog posts for these videos, and you can just leave a comment in the blog post there and ask any questions you want about the hands, and I'll gladly try to explain any thought processes or anything that I can impart concerning the hands. So, yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. It's been Nathan with blackrain79.com. We'll see you next time.